local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you.
All right, everyone, and we're going to be talking about Comics that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, December 1st. It's crazy. We're already at the point where we're ordering books for the next year.
It's true, man. And, like, talk about a turkey hangover day. Like, we totally started the stream wrong. Like, it was only in one aspect ratio on YouTube. It's like, oh, I definitely am still on tryptophan. So my orders are going to reflect my inability to fully think.
Yeah. Well, hopefully your orders will be as hefty as your plate for Thanksgiving yesterday, and that will be across the board for all, or at least our American viewers. But with that said, should we remind everyone where they can get these hefty plates of amazing comics? I have lost your mic, Kyle. But that being said, yes, you can start out for prhcomics.com to find all the amazing books from Penguin Random House. That'll be your Marvel, your IDW, your Dark Horse, Distillery, Ignition, Boom Studios, Kodansha, Square Enix, and more. Going to prhcomics.com, you'll see this very nice little website right here. And right off the bat, they make it very easy to find the FOC for December 1st. Clicking that will get you over to this detailed section of all the books on FOC this Monday. I always recommend sorting A to Z because it makes your life a little bit easier to read it in alphabetical order. Now, that being said, if you would like your books to be from DC, Image, Oni, Dynamite, and more, you're going to want to go over to lunardistribution.com. Lunardistribution.com will have the other section of amazing books available on FOC this week. You'll go to this website, scroll down a small hair to upcoming FOC, make sure you're on the right date, December 1st, and you can see all of those amazing books. So, as always, we're going to talk about some of the big highlights, some of the hot covers, some of the amazing new series and issues that will be on FOC each week, but you can see all of them on these two websites. Now, that being said, Kyle, did we get your mic back up?
Yeah, I just didn't want to burp into it earlier when we were talking about food and it was all coming back to me.
Well, hopefully it sounds like you had a good Thanksgiving yesterday.
It's a food-based holiday. I think I did all right.
Well, let's see if our guest had a good Thanksgiving. I get to have the great honor of bringing one of the best editors in comics who has a brand new publishing company on air, the incomparable Scott Dunbier.
Hey, Mathias, how you doing, man?
Doing all right. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. You know, spent it with family, had lots of food. I had a regular turkey and a deep fried turkey, and the house didn't explode, so that's good.
That's the key when you do the deep fried turkey. If you can say that you actually walked away from it, it was a good turkey.
Yeah. But I learned the proper way to deep fry a turkey, and I'll tell the secret. It's pretty easy. Have your son do it.
I think that's the Judeo-Christian, biblical sacrifice route, right?
Yeah. No, he's very competent, 24 years old. He'll, I'll burn the house down, but he won't.
There it is. He has too much fear of his father to do that.
Hopefully not. But
we moved to smoking them because less explosions when you do it that way. Still some, but less.
I remember the very first time I tried to deep fry a turkey. It was more of I had a group of friends who would do a friend's Thanksgiving, and we were in this multi-million-dollar house in Orange County, that clearly didn't belong to me. And my friend who normally does it all of a sudden had a family emergency, says, Mathias, you're going to deep fry this turkey. Blow up Jason's house. He's going to murder you. And it was like, oh, I guess under that circumstances, there's no way I can fail or I die. Thanksgiving, it's the great holiday for everyone.
It is. It's Christmas without presents.
Yeah. See, now, as we enter into Black Friday today, and everyone's going to be hopefully heading to their local comic shop and taking advantage of some great sales, buying some amazing reading, I can say one of the things I'm most thankful for is comics. But as a huge art collector, you can only get the hint of seeing it depending on which camera and which device you're on amongst my house. I'm a big fan of comic artwork. Clearly you are too. You have some beautiful pieces behind you. And you also bring to the medium the ability for anyone to affordably have a massive collection of comic art with your incredible artist editions. So can you talk to us a little bit about your new publishing venture in Act 4, what it is and what you're bringing to the industry?
Anyone who's familiar with the artist editions I did in the past at IDW will recognize these books. They are being done through Act 4 Publishing, who I partnered with the great folks at Skybound and distributed through Image. It's trying to continue the archival work I've been doing for the last 15 years. We're actually coming up on, I'm not sure which book it's going to be, but we're coming up on my 100th artist edition, which is pretty insane.
That is. So for those not familiar with an artist edition, can you explain to, because we have a large number of viewers, both retailers, consumers, comic administrators. Can you explain what the artist edition is and why they need to have a copy on their shelf?
An artist edition mimics the experience of holding original art in your hand. It is something that is printed at the same size as the original. So for instance, if the art is 11 by 16 inches, then we do a book that is 12 by 17 inches. So it's the same size as the original art, and each page is scanned in color so you can see all the little nuances that make up original art. So you can actually see the gradients in the ink. You can see the blue pencils. You can see the corrections, the whiteout. And we even use paper that tries to come as close as possible to original artboard. So it's the whole experience of seeing original comic art at a much lower price tag. And people tell me that these books are a little bit expensive, and they might be, but for the upcoming Steve Ditko artist edition, the original art in that would be conservatively $15 million.
And that is, I hate to say, a very conservative opinion of it. I've been in the room with Steve Ditko art. I've held Steve Ditko art, but I never in my life could fathom owning a piece of Steve Ditko original artwork. Oddly enough, Scott, if you don't mind me being invasive, do you own a piece of Ditko art?
Not anymore. I have in the past owned a number of them, but not anymore. Actually, I once won a Steve Ditko Spider-Man page in a poker game, but that was back in the 80s.
Is that piece in this book?
It is.
There you go. That is incredible. So this is something I didn't think we would ever get to see, and I am excited to own, because once again, never having owned a piece of Steve Ditko art, this will be great to say. How did this come about? Because you've been doing artist editions for a while, and this is, I think, a holy grail piece. How did it come to you finally being able to publish a book of basically Steve Ditko originals?
Yeah, this really is one of the holy grails of original art, of artist editions for me. I've been friends with Mark Ditko, who's Steve Ditko's nephew, for a number of years, and he's been very supportive about having this book happen. There were some issues between the Ditko estate and Marvel, but those were finally resolved, and we're now able to do this artist edition, and this will be my first Marvel artist edition with my new company.
That is awesome. Now, the size of this art, I hate to say, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't believe Ditko didn't do 11 by 17s. These are maybe twice up, or
they're twice up pages, and the artwork the book itself is 15 by 22 inches, so it's massive, you know, and the pages range in size, you know, different artboard. You know, Marvel didn't have standard artboard like they do now, so Ditko would cut it down, so they would vary from page to page, but the overall experience is pretty impressive. It's, again, the book is 15 by 22 inches, and it's a really heavy hardcover.
Oh, that is awesome. So this is on Final Order Cutoff this Monday. You can check it out at Lunar Distribution's website. There's 2 covers that you guys have on this. One is that epic final moment from the final story, which is one of the more iconic Steve Ditko, or sorry, the final chapter, one of the more iconic Steve Ditko Spider-Man stories. And the other, I'm not familiar with off the top of my head where this piece of Ditko art came from.
This is a pinup from Spider-Man 23. It's just a pinup that Ditko did. I'm not, you know, they probably just had room for something extra that issue, and he did this piece. And I've always loved this original. I actually held it in my hands about 40 years ago. And then again, more recently when I scanned it, but it's always been one of my favorites with Spider-Man and really the entire supporting cast of characters. You know, you look at the immediate cast and then all the villains around him. And so I just thought this would make a stunning cover. Absolutely. And this is the direct market exclusive through Lunar. The other cover with the splash page from Spider-Man 33, that one is the regular cover, and also the entire issue of Spider-Man 33, this one on the screen right now, is in the book along with 3 other complete stories, including Amazing Fantasy 15, the very first appearance of Spider-Man.
That is crazy. So I really quickly want to point out, yes, that the direct market exclusive is available only at your local comic shop. So definitely a reason why you need to reach out and get your pre-orders into your local comic shop. But this is crazy. I mean, that means in the past few years, you've got to handle some of the most iconic Spider-Man artwork in existence to get this scanned in as is. And I believe the full issues you have in here are Amazing Spider-Man 20, 26, and then the big one, 33, the final chapter.
That's right. And also Amazing Fantasy 15, the very first story.
Yeah, that is something else. So for anybody to even obtain those issues, you're talking about an astronomical, I mean, 6-figure value to just buy those issues, let alone the original artwork. And you get to read these stories as Stan Lee and Steve Ditko originally saw them in the Marvel offices over 60 years ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's an honor for me to do books like this. You know, it's something that really goes back to my art dealing days and my love of comics. And when I became an editor, this is something that I always wanted to do. And I've been very fortunate, first at IDW and now on my own, to be able to do them.
Yeah, this is something else. And I can only imagine, because it doesn't stop with those 3 issues and AF-15. You have even more Ditko artwork in these books.
Yeah, the book itself is 192 pages. The total page count of stories is 176 pages. And that includes the 4 original stories, 2 covers, the cover to number 11 and the cover to number 28, the only covers that are known to exist, as well as a bunch of pinups and splash pages and just great pages all throughout. You know, every page is by Steve Ditko, with the exception of 2 pages from Spider-Man number 8. There was a backup story in that particular issue, and there are 2 pages with Spider-Man fighting the Human Torch, and those are actually penciled by Jack Kirby and inked by Steve Ditko.
So the part I love about this is people can, you know, say what they want about pricing on this. This is a massive tome of a hardcover. that will be quite the lift. But you bring this in at under $200. And I mean, what would you roughly estimate it to walk home with any page of Steve Ditko original art? You're spending a 5-figure sum minimum, right?
Of Spider-Man, yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, there really isn't a page that can be had for under $20,000. If I had to break it down, I mean, Spider-Man 33 would probably command $5 million or more for the whole story because of the significance it has in comic history. Amazing Fantasy 15 is 11 pages, but who could even guess what that would go for? I mean, that would probably, sell for $10 million. The other issues would go for probably, $2.5 million each. So we're already at $20 million, not even counting the other 100+ pages in the book.
And you can walk home with this. You can place your pre-orders right now at your local comic shop to walk home with basically what feels like a facsimile of all this original art at barely over $1 a page. Barely over $1 a page. That is insane.
Well, I like the way you look at things.
So, I mean, these things are amazing. I have a number of, you've literally made it to where I've had to buy my own bookcase just for the books you put out because they're so huge and so amazing. And as you can see, these things are big. I mean, this is way behind me. I'll drag one on in a second. But these are awesome pieces. And at the price point that is just unfathomable because I bought, minor pages from lesser known artists and spent hundreds of dollars. And the idea that for under $200, the fact that you have this under $200 is crazy to me. I can own tens of millions of dollars worth of original art, it feels like, by the Steve Ditko.
Yeah, thank you.
That's not all you are doing at Act 4. So that is the big one on FOC this week. But I want to talk a little bit about what Act 4 has coming up. Obviously, in just a few weeks, you'll have Jim Apato's DC Classics. This will be releasing December 17th. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. Jim Aparo was one of the true mainstays of DC back in the 70s. Him and Kurt Swan were probably the two most regularly prolific artists. This book will have 11 complete stories, including 5 Spectre stories from Adventure Comics. He only did 10 at that period. He did some later, but the original 10, there were 5 of them. I also have 4 Brave and the Bold stories by Aparo, and 1 story from Detective Comics. I think it's 445, which was in the famous Bat Murderer storyline, which when I was a kid, I loved that.
Oh, that's great.
So and lots of other stuff. And lots of covers and pages and other things too.
Just unbelievable stuff. I mean, I love it. And these are huge. These are massive tomes again. But you've gotten Marvel, you've got DC, and you don't leave it at that. Another one coming up in March of next year is the classic Wally Wood stories from EC Comics. Mm-hmm. And this might be one of the largest of the Act 4 books, right?
Yeah, the page count's pretty big. I kind of went crazy on it. This is an expanded version of the 3rd artist edition I did, way back when in, 15 years ago. Wally Wood is one of my favorite artists, and EC is one of my favorite lines of all time. There were originally 18 stories in this book. It weighed in at, I think, 156 pages, around there. Over the course of the years, I was able to track down more Wally Wood stories. So this book is the expanded edition, and it's got it has 11 additional stories in it. So the page count is up over 230.
And I want to give people an idea of how big these things are. So I grabbed my early IDW edition of the ECers. And to give you a frame, this is a big, hefty piece. And I mean, it's amazing just the quality of art. Like, it's like owning the original artwork. This is definitely you need a coffee table to fit this, but just amazing details that you get in here, and just the massive scale. It is literally like you owned this original artwork. And you might need to work out to lift these books. But yeah, so this is about the size we're talking when we get the Wally Woods EC stories that'll be coming out next year, right?
That'll be the same size as Wally Wood and Steve Ditko. That's 15 by 22.
Wow. So yeah, so the Steve Ditko that's on FOC this Monday is going to be about this size. That is crazy. So it's definitely value. I will say that. But then for more modern, iconic ones, also coming out soon, we just FOC'd this a few weeks ago, is Mike Mignola's Hellboy in Hell. I can't imagine how much money you spent on ink on this book.
Good point. Yeah, Mignola is one of the modern masters, truly. He's been doing Hellboy for just over 30 years now, and obviously it's a worldwide phenomenon at this point. This book will collect the second half of Hellboy in Hell, issues 6 through 10, and then there's just a ton of other stuff, lots of covers, lots of beautiful pages, pinups, all sorts of things. It just, I love Mike's work.
So let's talk about one that hasn't FOC'd yet. Starting next year, you have a huge one from a modern legend, George Perez. Can you tell us a little about the new Teen Titans Artist Edition?
Yeah, that will have only Teen Titans art in it. Most of the pages and covers, and there are a lot of covers, most of them will be from the first 40 issues. There are some that'll go after that, but if you're a fan of the Perez and Wolfman series from the early 80s, this is a book that you're going to like.
Yeah, I think that is an absolutely amazing piece. That one goes on FOC January 26th of next year and will be released just in time for Comic-Con with a July 1st release. So some amazing things already on the schedule. I think 2026 is going to be a huge year for Act 4, but it all starts, I believe, your first book is 3 weeks from now on December 17th, correct?
That's right.
All right. So I'm excited, but I'm even more excited about some of the things you guys have already done with Kickstarter. You have had some very successful Kickstarters already with Act 4, right?
Yeah, we have the Jason Pearson Body Bags book, which is going to be fulfilling in the next few weeks. That was a special case. That was a book that I did with a guy named Kevin Gardner, who was very close with Jason. And we basically did it for Jason's mom. Nearly all the money is going directly to Jason's mother for that. And then we are going to be releasing it through the direct market sometime late next year as well. And then the Danger Girl one was very successful, did over $500,000. And I'm very close to Danger Girl. I edited the original series with J. Scott Campbell, and it's actually more than one book. There's a second book from his Wildsider series that has all of his pencils, because Campbell did that work in pencil. It wasn't inked. And then, it was finessed because there were overlays. And that book is just, if you're a fan of J. Scott Campbell, the Wildsiders book is every bit as good as the Danger Girl book.
That is awesome. Now, that one had a very successful Kickstarter, but comic shops and comic fans who missed out on the Kickstarter will still have access to it in the future, correct?
Absolutely. There will be at some point an edition of the Danger Girl Artist Edition released. I'm not sure when yet, but it's definitely coming. Also, that book is, the Danger Girl book is 184 pages, and it has 2 foldouts in it and 2 trifolds in it. So it'll actually fold out twice, because the cover to Danger Girl #7 was, of course, a triptych. So it's 3 pieces. So it's going to be folding out double the size, or 50% larger than a regular fold out. There's also a trifold in the book of the Danger Girl G.I. Joe crossover. So because we were able to secure the rights from our friends at Hasbro to let us put in all 5 covers from that series, and one of them was a triptych.
That is awesome, because you can say to no end, getting licensing approval on things like these special projects is not easy.
These are sort of a special cases. I mean, I've been very lucky and been able to add on things, because they're sort of unique. It's not like we're asking them to let us reprint a comic book. It's just a page or 2 of original art. And for the most part, people are very helpful and considerate and, want to see this happen.
That is awesome to hear. So there's one last one I want to talk to you about while I have you here. Dave Stevens, legendary figure. You are doing Dave Stevens covers and stories. Can you tell us a little bit about this and when we might be able to find this in a comic shop?
Yeah, that'll be sometime in 2027, and it'll be a reworking of the original version that we published ages ago that is very sought after on the secondary market. Dave Stevens is one of the best artists of the past half century. He when I was 19 years old, The Rocketeer came out, and I remember there was an ad for it on the back of Star Slayer #1, a Mike Grell comic from Pacific Comics, and that's the first time I ever saw Dave Stevens' work, and it was stunning to me, and I've been a fan ever since. And so The Rocketeer was actually the very first artist edition we ever did, and it was it's the one that sort of launched the entire line. It was very successful. If it would have bombed, there probably wouldn't be very many artist editions right now, but it really resonated with both fans and also retailers. Retailers were really excited about it, especially my friend Cliff Biggers. He was a very big proponent of it from the start.
That's awesome. Cliff, always a great retailer in the industry.
Cliff is one of the best.
So can you tell us, what is the difference between an artist edition and a connoisseur edition over at Act 4?
Sure. So a connoisseur edition is basically a collection. Think of the Absolute line of comics. Of not of comics, but of collections. It's sort of like that. It'll be larger, mimicking the Martini edition that I did. No, because it's going to be a color book. So, for instance, The Spirit by Darwin Cook, the Connoisseur edition, will be out next or in 2 months, and that is a collection of all of Darwin's spirit work. It includes the issues 1 through 6, and then 8 through 12, because he took a break in the middle, and that was by other artists, and also the Spirit Batman crossover is in it, and that's going to be the entire story as a comic. So it's not an artist edition, it's not shot from the originals, but it's beautifully designed by Sean Phillips, who also designed the Martini edition Last Call, which he won an Eisner for, well deserved, and it'll give readers the entire Spirit book, the entire Spirit collection by Darwin, and it'll be in a slipcase, and I'm looking forward to putting it on my bookshelf next to the 2 Martini editions and New Frontier Absolute edition. Those to me are sort of the trinity of Darwin.
Yes. All right. Those look amazing. I hate that we have to wait till 2027 for it, but I am super excited to add that to my bookshelf. I want to remind everyone that Ditko piece, an absolutely amazing value, incredibly large book that you all need. So please reach out to your local comic shop. It runs at $195, so barely over $1 a page, to have one-to-one facsimiles of Steve Ditko original art. So the Ditko Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition on FOC this Monday. Reach out to your local comic shop. Scott, where can people find out more about what's coming from Act 4?
If you go to www.act4publishing.com, and just remember it's Act4, the number 4, publishing.com.
All right. So ACT, the number 4, publishing.com. And then you guys are on social media as well. I know that you guys have a wonderful social media presence. Where can people find you on social media?
We're on Facebook. You can either look up Act 4 Publishing, or you can look me up. I post a lot about stuff on my personal page. That's just Scott Dudenbeer. And then we're also on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. All right. I hope everyone takes a moment, follows Act 4 Publishing, follows Scott. It is all amazing comic content, brilliant, convention, photos, artwork beyond belief. It is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Scott.
Matthias, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Get your orders in this Monday. We have Steve Ditko's Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition.
All right.
All right. Now, we have a lot of other books that are on FOC this week, so a huge thanks to Scott for joining us. Let's dive into Penguin Random House after this commercial break. Can we get that, Kyle?
We can do that.
All right. Let's do a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with some amazing books on FOC at PRH.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience. Sure, comic books are beautiful, but underneath, there's something more authentic and exciting. The original art. See the pencils, the lines, the shading, as if you were there in the studio watching the artist work. Getting a peek at comics' backstage is easy with the original art experience.
All right, Friday night, guys. Thank you for being here. To be doing anything, the fact that you're here means the world to me.
Nick's pieces are always value priced with your budget in mind, for the beginning collector to the veteran.
And this is gorgeous. You got Aquaman and Mira.
Join the original art experience with Nick and our friendly crew of regulars, even if it's just to enjoy the art. Fridays at 7. It's all part of the experience.
All right, and we are back with the incredible comics that are on FOC this Monday, December 1st. And we're going to dive directly into Penguin Random House to start talking about some of these releases. I'm excited that we're talking about books that are already set for release in January of 2026, right, Kyle?
Yep.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to dive in for a little bit. We'll get Kyle back in a short bit as we talk about Amazing Spider-Man Torn. Weird that I'm going to be talking about an issue number 4, but I feel a lot of people are sleeping on this masterpiece by J. Michael Straczynski. It is an early story set while Gwen Stacy is still alive. You're getting that fun of youthful college-age Peter Parker as he is still in that love triangle of Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy and a brand new villain. But I love this Phil Noto cover. I always have to show off any of Phil Noto's pieces that are, like his vintage 1960s style. But this is something I love about a classic story. We're dealing with our new villain, Evangeline, as well as our traditional Norman Osborn Green Goblin. And it's a moment like this that, meanwhile, Norman Osborn has set his sights on Peter's friends when it rains, it pours. That in any other time would just be a throwaway line of, well, that sounds like a normal day in the life of Peter Parker. But those who know this era of Spider-Man, as we enter around the 120s of Spider-Man, you understand what is coming and how detrimental it can be. And it is a masterpiece in literary usage that Straczynski is taking advantage of, that's going to just hit all of our old Spider-Man fans with an emotional gut punch of what can happen to one of Peter's friends. I am absolutely adoring the Amazing Spider-Man Torn. If you have not been picking it up, reach out to your local comic shop, track down those first 3 issues, get your issue order in for number 4, because I know that this miniseries is going to strike at the heartstrings. Want to point out Arcadia, a beautiful piece from Ignition. Issue number 1 came out earlier this week. I'm hoping you all grabbed it. If you haven't, reach out to your local comic shop. It is a crazy bit of sci-fi fun from the Miranda brothers. Some great covers of issue number 2 on FOC this week. But as we continue through looking at all these amazing titles that are coming out, one that is definitely catching my attention in a surprising way is the newest take from Dark Horse's Cyberpunk series. The popular video game getting constant comic tales is really catching my attention with this new Chrome series. Done as a comedy, that's the part that catches me completely off guard. We are going to get a dark comedy horror in the way of Cyberpunk 2077 Chrome. Doug Wagner, always brilliant when it comes to doing these, crazy out there stories and doing a little bit of dark comedic sense. I'm not a huge fan of the video game, Cyberpunk 2077. I have a great appreciation for it. But, Blade Runner-esque tales, I've got my fill of classics. But doing a dark comedy in the tone draws my attention. Getting Doug Wagner to, do the story has my attention. So I'm going to dip my toe in on this. I'm definitely going to place an order with my local comic shop. It might be something that you guys might want to try, whether you're an hardcore Cyberpunk 2077 fan or a fan of Doug's other classic books. This could be a completely out there and fun taste of something completely different. So I am intrigued. Then for you fans of Daredevil Born Again, I'm certain many of you guys have watched season 1 of Daredevil Born Again and said to yourself, this isn't Frank Miller's work. This isn't the Born Again that I thought it was. And it isn't. You're right. The Daredevil Born Again series on Disney Plus is very heavily drawn from Charles Soule's run of Daredevil, not Frank Miller's. And I'm glad we are finally getting those trade paperbacks back in print. The Charles Soule run, Back in Black, Death of Daredevil, and the dark art that's dealing with Mayor Wilson Fisk, Muse, and the return to the black suit. As we've already seen season 2 teaser photos out there on the internet that Matt Murdock is back in the black Daredevil suit. So if you want to get ahead of that, or if you want to read what you saw already on screen, the Charles Soule run is the way to do it. These new trade paperbacks that are themed are going to fit that perfectly. And of course, Back in Black will get you ready for season 2. So I am particularly excited about these. I I think that these are going to be a great way to catch you up or get you ahead if you're enjoying the Disney Plus series. Because as I always like to point out, the comics are where it starts. Whether they have a incredibly successful film or TV series or it utterly fails, you will still always have those comics, and now they're in print in an affordable, easy way to grab. For those who are curious about the fallout of One World Under Doom, it doesn't look like Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme again. We are still going to be dealing with Doctor Strange in his Asgardian role. So, Doctor Strange #1, not out yet. We have to FOC #2. It's worth pointing out, yes, Stephen Strange, still not the Sorcerer Supreme, still going to be dealing with his Asgardian friends. It looks like Angela joins the mix in this, with Derek Landry writing this. So it is worth pointing out for those of you guys who have not yet placed your order, subscribed to your series, added it to your pull box, your pull list, whatever your local comic shop calls it. If you are enjoying Doctor Strange doing more of that crazy mystical barbarianism, that true D&D fashion fun, this is going to be the book you're going to want to make sure your local comic shop knows to order for you. So awesome piece right there by Alex Horley on this. But I always want to make sure people are getting ahead because unfortunately with Penguin Random House, and particularly we're seeing it with Marvel, we're often facing a moment where we have to finalize orders for comics before the issue #1 comes out. You are ordering your issue #2s, sometimes even your issue #3s. It is very helpful to your local comic shop if you let them know what you want, what you don't want. So if you're loving the Asgardian, fantasy storytelling of Doctor Strange that we got in Sorcerer of Asgard, or I can't remember what that Doctor Strange series was that we just wrapped up, this is going to be that continuation. Let them know if you want it. Let them know if you don't want it. It makes ordering easier for your local comic shop so they have the books that you're looking for and aren't over-ordering books you don't want. Speaking of books that deal with a bit of that dungeon-heavy exploring, have you heard about Dungeon Crawler Carl? Dungeon Crawler Carl is a popular prose series that is blowing up, particularly in the D&D fantasy role-playing game scene. Whenever I talk to people who aren't in the comic world about owning a comic shop, one of the things they recently have been bringing up has been, well, do you guys have Dungeon Crawler Carl? And now every comic shop has an easy access, if you have a PRH account, to start stocking this phenomenal piece of iconic media. Dungeon Crawler Carl is about to get a sequential art graphic novel series from Vault Publishing in 2026. But if you aren't carrying these novels, this is a chance to do it. The audiobooks are super popular, but this is one that literally people with the lightest touch of gaming and comic tastes have been diving into. So to bring this directly into your comic shop and drag people into it, I think this is an awesome one and definitely worth stocking. So I'm excited about it. And I think this is a great thing for if you're the comic shop ordering expert for your shop. If you're not just the consumer, this is definitely something to stock. If you are the consumer and you're hearing about it, definitely something to grab. But this is not the end of Dungeons in this. We've talked about Dungeons and Dragons-esque books. Let's talk about Dungeons in Latveria. And this is going to be a little less dice rolling and mysticism. As coming out of One World Under Doom, Philip Kennedy Johnson, the new Marvel exclusive writer, as of the recent announcement, is going to be taking on the tale of what happens when Doom's not home. The powers that be are invading Latveria, trying to find all of this magic and science that Doom has kept away. And unfortunately, when the Latvian Castle of Doom collapses under this invasion of people trying to just steal all that technology, science, and magic, all of a sudden end up in the dark labyrinths of Doom beneath, the dungeons of Doom, the very titular concept right there. It becomes a survival story. And with Red Hulk in there, with Benjamin Percy and Philip Kennedy Johnson, two masterminds of darker parts of the Marvel Universe, giving us this tale, I am certain it will be interesting. There are a number of great covers available for this. For those who just are not over One World Under Doom, this will be your aftermath continuation. And I mean, everything about this, from the creative team behind it to the concept of it, it screams Doom. And Doom, my dear friends, is. But that's not all we have. If you want a lighter tone, if you watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade yesterday, you likely saw 3 of the biggest K-pop singers out there, the gals behind Netflix most viewed TV or film ever, K-pop Demon Hunters. We are getting more. We are finally getting something new in your comic shop for the K-pop Demon Hunter fans, and that is K-pop Demon Hunters for the fans. You know these girls love their fans, and a little golden book means that all ages can enjoy it. Whether you're a young reader or learning to read, or you're a fan who just has that classic nostalgic feel of that golden spine. Little golden books are always amazing for everyone, and I am excited to put this on the shelves of my shop, to put this on the shelf of my personal collection, to read it with my son who loves K-pop Demon Hunters, to annoy my wife to no end. She is not the fan of K-pop Demon Hunters. K-pop Demon Hunters for the fans is going to be your first new content, prose and artwork for everyone who loves Rumi and Miru and the rest of K-pop Demon Hunters. Hopefully we'll even get a Derpy Tiger in there. I'm excited about this. I think this will be a great one to stock. I only wish it was arriving before Christmas. The on sale date on this is December 30th, so right before the New Year's. But for those of you guys who have those big Wednesday releases, New Year's Eve, this will be a great seller for all ages and a great way to put all of that holiday money, whether it's Hanukkah or Christmas money or Kwanzaa money, to use. This will be it. Now, I am particularly excited to talk about this next series. Marvel is bringing a new #1. And Iron Man has had more #1s, I feel, than any Marvel hero. And there's a lot of room for failure with Iron Man. We've had some great creators on here that just haven't pushed the needle on Iron Man. And I mean, even with covers, Iron Man can get a little bland. You know, how many times can we see that gold and red suit in various poses? But I think Marvel has figured it out. Marvel has dragged over a writer I have been waiting to see on a big Marvel book. He has done some of the best books at Skybound, Image, and DC. He has brought us Superman to new heights. He has brought G.I. Joe into more households than I think it's been in since the 1980s. And now, Joshua Williamson puts on the iron armor with a new Iron Man #1. Carmen Carnero and Joshua Williamson are the team that I think will bring this book to the heights it deserves to be. The best Iron Man has been since Robert Downey Jr. put on the helmet in the early 2000s. I am excited. And I wish Marvel could figure out how to do covers. Because I'm sure if Kyle were back, he would be exclaiming it. The fact that we're on FOC and there are so many covers not yet revealed or not yet finalized art. Look, I love Elizabeth Torque. I think she can do amazing artwork. The fact that we do not have the colors or finalization of this, that we don't have the Ivan Talavera cover yet, it's saying something. But even on the covers we have, they're just so generic. Don't judge this book by its cover. I think that Joshua Williamson is going to make this the best Iron Man book we have had possibly ever. I can't think of the last time. It's been decades since Iron Man has stood as a notable form for me. I mean, Brian Michael Bendis did a great job bringing Mary Jane and Riri Williams in, but it wasn't the Tony Stark book. Matt Fraction had some emotionally intense tales. Gary Dugan has done some brilliant work with it, but we need the Iron Man book to define the ages, and I trust Joshua Williamson to do that. So I am very excited on that. A lot of incredible books on FOC this week. Ones that I really quickly have to touch on. Logan is back with Black, White, and Blood. We're going to get Saladin Ahmed, Larry Hama. Yes, Larry Hama on Logan. And Tom Waltz. Tom Waltz, who has been one of the key editors at IDW, the writer of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for over 100 issue, is now going to be giving us a Logan short story in the Black, White, and Blood. I always love these because you get a lot of creators who couldn't devote themselves to a mini series or an ongoing series are able to be dragged in for a handful of pages in these awesome anthologies that are just very powerful. We get Adam Kubert back, so this is going to be fun. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Black, White, and Blood series, Al? Ooh,
I like the fact that the blood is red. I have this weird thing, right, with these black, white, and something. And I wish that more often it was really treading new ground, right? So often these are like, we're going back to a story from 10 years ago and we're telling it in a different way, like, or we're filling in a gap that was missing before. Especially when you look at some of like the Turtles black, white, and green kind of stuff, or the some of the other, like Superman, what was it, red, white, and gold, or whatever, you know, Superman black and red, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're filling in gaps. They're not necessarily treading new ground. That said, the Logan series, the last time it was Logan and not like Old Man Logan or Wolverine, the Logan Chronicles, or whatever the hell, right? There was a lot they left on the table. So to go back and get to fill that in, I can get behind.
Yeah. All right. And we had a couple of those black and white anthologies on today's FOC. So that will be exciting. But if you want for something completely different from Marvel, rather than the dark, rather than the dark grittiness of Logan, let's talk about Luna Snow and all of the bright colors she brings to the show. One of our Agents of Atlas, an incredible Asian character that has been just blowing up, whether it's in Marvel Snap to Marvel Rivals. She's had her biggest role, I feel, in the video game realm of the Marvel Universe. And I'm loving the idea that we're going to get more of her in the comic realm. Greg Pak knows how to write this character, and I'm excited to see her return. I love this cover Gudahiro has with Jeff the Landshark, two of the iconic figures that have really blown up outside of the sequential art pages and more in the video game world of Marvel. I think this will hopefully drag more people who have been loving the Marvel Rivals video games, which is millions of people, over into the comic book world. And that is what I'm really hoping with the Luna Snow World Tour. And I just love that we have a new musician. I mean, the 1970s, 80s, it was Dazzler. And look, Dazzler's even on a cover with Luna Snow. But I like that we're getting a modern one, and Luna Snow is going to be that modern form.
Well, and Luna Snow is one of those characters that's not necessarily like Marvel owned or, you know, original Marvel character, right? Like, this is something that's a little bit licensed, not entirely, but like a little bit licensed, a little bit. There's a lot of stuff around Luna Snow, right? And so to have Luna Snow have her own comic, especially with her popularity in the video games, which, don't get me started on video games influencing comic books. Say, like, we're going to make a comic because this character is big in video games. I have many, many strong feelings. But more than that, like, this is the character to do it with. Yeah. Because it's not like we're going to make a new White Tiger comic book because White Tiger is popular in a bunch of video games. This is a character that doesn't, on some level, really exist outside of that cyber video game world in a big way. So I would
disagree because I loved the Luna Snow one-shots before we had these video games. I loved her in Agents of Atlas.
Right, but how many people really that you know who are coming into your shop every week read Agents of Atlas? This is a character that most of the weekly readers we have now know from video games, cartoons, and other licensed material. So again, like, bro, I just pulled 2 sets of Agents of Atlas out of this collection, and I'm keeping them because I loved Agents of Atlas. But like my nephew, who is young, has no idea what the Agents of Atlas is, but he knows Jeff the Landshark and Luna Snow.
Yeah.
So it turns into a very different sort of situation. In this case, you know.
Well, and the great thing is, hopefully, it's also when people are coming in to grab that K-pop Demon Hunters Little Golden Book, or they're just coming in talking about K-pop Demon Hunters. Luna Snow is your K-pop Demon Hunter transference right there. She is a K-pop star, which is a really unique thing also to have in comics. And the way to convert one of the hottest things on streaming services into hopefully one of the hotter things in Marvel sequential artwork.
Absolutely.
All right. So again, continuing all that One World Under Doom fun. Well, we have a lot of amazing books, and man, look at those covers on Miss Truesdale for you Hellboy fans. One World Under Doom finally getting its trade paperback. It's not going to be on stands until February 10th. But if you missed out on this 9-issue epic, you can order 9 issues, $20 is ridiculous. It's rare that I feel you get a good deal from Marvel in the way of their graphic novels. I hate to say it that way, but those epic collections at $50, it hurts. In a time period where DC is doing their $10 compacts, Marvel has its smaller compact trades, but they're still a little pricey. They don't drop down the price the way that Oni and DC are, the way that Vault is. But 9 issues for $20 from Marvel, that is a steal. Support that, because this was an epic book. Ryan North did a great event, but support the idea of Marvel making affordable trades. $20, 9 issues. I think it's not just the 9 issues, but 9 issues, $20 is a steal for Marvel.
Right. I mean, you're just over $2 a book, which is $2.50 less than the regular book.
Yeah.
So you're getting it at a more affordable price. You're getting it in this big, beautiful edition. It's the, if you weren't going to buy One World Under Doom, because don't get me started on that one, but if you were going to buy the single issues, this is the way to finally read the story that you've been hearing so much about, and that is tying into so much other stuff you are reading.
Yeah. But then you go even better. All of a sudden, Planet Hulk, $15. $15 for all of Greg Pak's Planet Hulk. It's crazy we're on the anniversary of Planet Hulk. But yeah, this is going to be, let's see, what is that? That is somewhere around 14, 15 issues for $15. And it's a first size, backpack size, pocket size book you can bring with you.
I really hope one of the pull quotes on the back is, "I know him from work." Thor. Just for the little Easter egg for people like me who are into that kind of joke.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and it is awesome because I still think that despite the huge viewership of Thor Ragnarok, and look, people have opinions. I thought it was a great movie. It was fun popcorn. A lot of people haven't read Planet Hulk. All this excitement when we saw the references to Planet Hulk in the She-Hulk Disney Plus series, no matter what anybody wants to say about their opinions, and you know what? We all have opinions. It is great to have opinions, whether you love these shows, hated these shows, love these movies, hated these movies, thought they were just eh. The reality is people talked about Planet Hulk because of those things.
Well,
and now it's an affordable way. $15, put it in their hands. Planet Hulk.
Well, and if you picked up Stephanie Phillips' Planet She-Hulk and you're like, wait, there's stuff I need to know that I don't know. It's that.
Yeah,
that one over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So another one.
Powers next to it.
Yeah. Another one everyone's talking about is Predator's Badlands. I took my kid to this movie and he was so hyped. He's like, when does number 2 come out? I'm like, I hope we get a release date on it. I loved Predator Badlands. Did you get a chance to see it yet?
No, but Team Predator always.
Oh, it is such a good movie. Everyone's talking about it. It is the water cooler moment of my comic shop, at least. And if you didn't, for any reason, get this comic, this is the prequel that leads directly into the movie. This is the story of Deck as a young Yatu Predator kid, and it leads directly into his relationship with his brother and his father and the film. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, great comic to pick up. If you have seen the movie already and you want more, this is the origin of Deck, our Predator that's the protagonist of this. This is a great, simple 32-page comic, quick read. The only thing I hate about this is that this will not be in people's hands until January 14th, which the movie will probably be out of theatrical release by then. I wish Marvel was quicker on this second printing, but it's a second printing.
But that'll be about the time it hits streaming. So like it's a perfect combination for the two. Like you figure it's probably going to leave theaters in the next 2 weeks and hit streaming mid-January. Okay. So that'll be perfect for generally with how fast 20th Century Fox puts stuff on streaming. Just, throwing that out there. I mean, obviously there's a lot of upheaval in that industry right now, and we're not going to get into all that. But like, if calendars go the way calendars normally go.
Yeah, I like that, Eddie. That is a good rating system right there for Predator Badlands. Easily 10,000 out of 10. 10,000. Yeah. Look, the 1980s 11 out of 10. Like you can Spinal Tap that all you want. I like that 10,000 out of 10.
I got to wear a Predator suit once.
Did you?
It was awesome.
You're big enough that I would be a little bit worried about your size Predator. That's a bit too tall for my Predator.
It was awesome.
Yeah. God, I really wish that this CAFU variant wasn't a 1 in 25. That's going to be a fortune on the aftermarket. If your shop is lucky enough to get it, let them know that you're interested. See if they're going to have it. See how much it's going to be. But I guarantee you that'll be a fortune on the aftermarket. So
I like quickly though. You just scrolled past it, and it was one that I was going to mention as we were going through there. Sorry, Matthias. I forgot. You can tell I'm out of sorts. Right there, the Red Book, guys. Red Book has been real fun. Right there next to the cover you just had, the Red Book number. What is it? Number 2 or 3?
Red Book number 3. Red Book number 3.
Red Book number 3A cover. Guys, if you read Blue Book, the Michael Avon Oeming book that they did about space aliens in the United States, this is space aliens in Soviet Russia. Space aliens, you. So, like, it's that. But these are all real-life alien encounters. This one is set, again, behind the steel curtain. These are things that are just recently kind of coming to light in the space alien hunter community. So, super fun book. Blue Book and now Red Book have just been so much fun, especially if you're like, the truth is out there. Or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a modern retake of X-Files. Like, look, Scrubs is coming back to the air. We've had so many other revivals. Where's my 2026 X-Files?
Do you really want to talk to me about Scrubs coming back on the air?
I'll talk to you about it once on the air.
I went and got the physical media out so I could rewatch everything before it hits the air with the original music.
All right, one I'm excited about for you Peach Momoko fans that love Demon Days and all that. Dimensional Rivals. This is going to get your Marvel rivals to your Demon Days level of fun. Peach Momoko not only drawing the cover, but writing and drawing it. Of course, I chose the Ivan Coelho cover just because I love the Ivan Coelho cover. But Peach is doing the interior writing and drawing on all this. And it is going to be a number of other artists working with her on this. So we haven't gotten the details on that. I'm kind of a little bummed that we have to FOC it without those details. But we are going to get all sorts of fun as Sai, which is the Samurai Psylocke from Demon Days, I believe, is going to, give us a little bit of Marvel Rivals love, give us a little bit of Demon Days love, give us a little bit of, everything. I think this will be good. Your Peach Momoko fans will undoubtedly adore this. We got Stan Sakai doing a great cover of Sai. So it should be fun. Like a nice little one-shot that I don't think anyone can scoff at.
I have a hot take.
Go for it.
never give me a Peach Momoko cover again. Give me Ivan Coelho doing Peach Momoko covers. Like, that's what I wanted when Peach Momoko exploded, was that look.
Yeah.
Ivan does it so unbelievably well that the two of them working together is like a match made in Lee Kirby heaven, right? Or Lee Ditko heaven. Like, just it's a great pairing.
Yeah. No, I would utterly agree. I mean, yeah, it is one of those things that I love, is when you get artists that, you know, can just blend together so well. And then, I mean, I want to say Ivan Coelho's from Spain, and I think there's always a wonderful realm of like Spanish, Japanese intermix is always solid. I think there's huge manga influence and anime influence in Spain and vice versa. So you're getting those things just beautiful.
I wasn't here when you talked about Arcadia, but when you look at Arcadia, that has a huge manga influence that the Miranda brothers bring to it. There is something about the art that comes out of Spain that just lends itself to that Asian influence that is so cool. Now, I said don't ever give me another Peach Momoko cover. If you love Peach Momoko, I'm not saying they shouldn't make them. I'm saying I would rather buy Ivan Coelho on Peach Momoko books than Peach Momoko on Peach Momoko books. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'm happy to have Peach's interior writing and stories. I think the Ultimate X-Men.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the thing, is like, this variant artist turns out to be a much better writer and interior artist than variant cover artist. Really? Let them do that.
Yeah, I wish that we could get more of the people who iconically are doing covers. I wish that the industry could finance this better to where it would justify them doing interiors. I would kill to have, you know, people like J. Scott Campbell and John Boy Myers, you know, and Art
doing
Adams.
Interiors again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there are guys, again, you think about Ebash, you think about Todd Knock. Their interiors were not nearly as good as their covers, so let them do covers. But Ivan Coelho on covers, man.
All right. Star Trek. A lot on FOC this week. We have Lower Decks. We have Strange New Worlds. We have Last Starship. I am loving all of these. I have never been as big of a Star Trek fan as I am currently. And this is somebody who grew up on, you know, Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, you know, all of that. But, let me express specifically how much I love Lower Decks. Lower Decks is the fun you can hand this to anyone, whether they are a hardcore Star Trek fan going back to the 60s, or they have never read it at all and they just like Rick and Morty. Lower Decks is a catch-all, amazing piece. Tim Sheridan is knocking this out of the park. Look, Ryan North did a great job with it. He did. But this is Tim Sheridan just shining, I think. He is doing a great job. I love these connecting covers that Chris Finoglio is doing. These are awesome. But I mean, if you haven't been reading all these amazing Lower Deck, reach out to your local comic shop. Get the trade paperbacks. Get the single issues that you can. If you love the cartoon, there's no reason you shouldn't be reading these. These are unpublished episodes in an era where we are sadly not getting more episodes. I absolutely think this is one of the greatest Star Trek comics out there. And I mean, I get that I'm saying that with on this week of FOC, we have Strange New Worlds, which is amazing. And we're in our final season of Strange New Worlds, which is going to make me cry. We have Last Starship, which is just insane. It has no right to be as good as it is, but Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly are giving us a tale in an era of Star Trek we've never got, but is just unbelievable with the Captain Kirk at the helm. All of these, this is an era for Star Trek comics we've never had. Gold Key, Marvel, DC, Wildstorm, IDW, Malibu, you name it. No one has ever done Star Trek at the quality that we're getting under the helm of like Heather Antos right now. This is a Star Trek lover's dream era for comics. You need to be reading these. But I will agree with Eddie in that comment right there. We got to drag that on screen. I do agree. I would love for some Enterprise. It was an underrated TV series that I don't even think I appreciated enough at the time, to the point where I appreciate it looking back on it. I would love more Enterprise in the way of comic form. Star Wars also doing great. Legacy of Vader continuing on under the great Star Wars, Charles Soule. Starship Godzilla giving us even more fun, like all of our sci-fi fun right now in the S realm. Starship Godzilla just gets better and better as it goes on. Chris Gucci and Ono kicking butt on that. Meanwhile, the Turtles, they're just trying to grab on with everything they can. We have the incredible Tales of the Teenage Ninja Turtles. If you're liking that new modern cartoon movie style, there's the comic. The main TMNT ongoing with Gene Luen Yang. I cannot wait for issue number 13 to drop so I can see how Gene's going to take the Turtles. And then, of course, we have Battle Nexus, which is every version of the Teenage Mutant Turtles fighting each other. We have to finalize the orders of the final issue of this before we even get issue number 1. Oh, FOC. This is why it's important you watch, important you reach out to your local comic shop and let them know, because this is just horrible. That as a comic shop owner, this is what they're making us do. We have to finalize our order for the final issue of a book before the first issue comes out. And I am excited about this book. I think Sophie Campbell is going to do a great job. I want to see all these versions of the Turtles fighting each other. I know that Kyle is a huge, huge Turtles fan. And it just sucks that we have to finalize orders for the final issue of a series before the first issue comes out.
Yeah, FOC is supposed to like help you. And in this case, it's hindering because someone somewhere decided that this needed to be weekly. Yeah. Listen, there is no Turtles fan out there who's going to be pissed that they have to wait a month between issues or they have to wait 3 weeks between issues. None of them. So if there's someone from IDW listening and I have your emails, maybe get your heads out of your butts and give us this again. Or immediately put it in trade paperback and keep it in print for 6 months so we can all order it. Okay?
I will say
I will order enough to justify that printing. Just call me.
I always have to play the devil's advocate, I feel, to Kyle, just to give other people some perspective on this. Because I don't disagree with anything that Kyle's saying. But I do understand with Penguin Random House, a lot of things that people, including retailers, don't always understand is that being a long-running, massive, one of the largest publishers and distributors in the world for books, Penguin Random House just has an old, archaic way of doing things. They require the books be at their warehouse 2 weeks earlier than or 2 weeks before release date, which is more than Lunar, Diamond, Universal, any of the other distributors require. And as such, it requires the books be printed earlier, which requires a final order cutoff to be earlier. And it sucks. But my argument would be that we don't need to exist in the 4-week realm of releases that we used to. There are so many incredible books coming out, as you see every week we do this show, that I would argue it is okay to break the monthly cycle to, make this work better. Because I think
give me a perfect book once a quarter.
Yeah.
And I'm fine. Yeah. Look at how long Joe Benitez has been able to do Lady Mechanica once a quarter. Right? And now once every 6 months on Kickstarter. If it's perfect, we don't care.
Yeah.
IDW and some of these publishers who have just been doing things the same way, some of these distributors who have just been doing things the same way for so many years could learn from some of these people who have had tremendous success, just shifting just a little bit of that perspective. And it would make it easier for retailers to order and carry books. I know a lot of shops who aren't even going to stock Battle Nexus until it goes to trade. Just because they can't order it accurately. So why would they risk ordering it at all and pissing off their customers?
And it's a hard thing. I mean, I've worked on the publishing end as well. You have to make choices, and sometimes I've been in absolute disagreement with the choices publishers have made to make this work. But it really is the difficult of the modern era with printing, with distribution, with publishing, with how we do orders, and also the expectations of the modern era to be able to do things with the maximum efficiency, effort, and timing. It would be nice to have a week of sales data, to have a week of time for the consumer to read the book and tell us They like this. They want this. They need this specific cover that is fully displayed and shown before we have to finalize the orders for it. But
the other caveat I would give, the other thing I would do, is if a book like this was fully returnable.
yes,
Okay, fine. We'll take a shot on it, so long as if it doesn't work in my shop, I can send it back to you.
yes, that would be ideals. But we can talk about those. That's a whole other show. We can just talk about that. Let's talk really quickly about some other things Dark Horse has in the T realm. Tomb Raider is back with a new film on the way. People are getting excited about this. Tomb Raider Sacred Artifacts by Casey Gilly and Antonio Di Carpio. I am always a fan. Going back to the Top Cow days of Lara Croft in comics. Dark Horse has done some wonderful ones with Gail Simone, Jackson Lansing, Colin Kelly, Karina Becco, and more. I am looking forward to giving Casey Gilly a shot as Lara Croft returns with a mixture of the modern video game look and the classic. I'm curious how this one's going to land.
Just last night, I was watching Warehouse 13, and there's an episode where one of the characters, they go on an expedition to Egypt, and this is what modern day archaeologists wear, and she's dressed like Lara Croft. And the line in the show was, no, that's what video game programmers and comic book artists think a modern day archaeologist is like. And it's clearly just Lara Croft.
I got to go back and watch that episode. That sounds great. All right. Another one from Dark Horse that seems really exciting to me, Touched by a Demon. So this is Kristen Gudsnuck. She did an amazing web series that Dark Horse picked up in comic form called Hench Girl. Actually, it went through several publishers. I believe Source Point Press might have even been one of them at one point. But Hench Girl was unbelievable, award-winning series, had a ton of attention, was hard to get a hold of because it was really micro-print run, huge aftermarket value. But it put Kristen on my radar. She has done several amazing books. I'm very excited about Touched by a Demon, which tells the tale of a demon who doesn't like how hell works. He longs for his time back when he was in heaven as an angel. And we're now getting a twisted out there romance story, 4 issues. This just seems fun. This seems like the type of thing that would be a great webcomic, was probably a hot webtoons piece, but seems like the easy way for the indie, eclectic comic fan who is not your traditional superhero sequential art fanatic. This is a great way to go.
Yeah, this falls into that maybe a little bit older than your Dogman, Captain Underpants, Cat Kid kind of age group. But that community, right? The kids who grew up on that kind of stuff were a little bit older, but not quite old enough to dive headlong into, a mature book like an Absolute Batman or something. This is a great way to kind of introduce them to the form.
Yeah, no, everything about this looks awesome. Definitely worth the attention. All right. A lot of great continuing books. Boom Studios bringing back Stan Lee's The Traveler. We have a bunch of Ultimate lines. Valiant's returning through IDW. VR Troopers from Boom Studios with so many covers. So many. But the last one I really want to talk about is well over a year in delay. It does not hit until the end of January. Almost 2 years from its launch. We finally get the final issue. I've lost control of my mouse. 1 second. The final issue of White Boat from Scott Snyder and Franco Francavilla over at Distillery. And again, this is one of those ones in the modern era I can't blame. This originally was distributed through Diamond when Distillery was exclusive through them. Diamond obviously has had a very public fallout this year. Now Distillery is over at Penguin Random House, and we're going to get the final issue of White Boat, which I have waited well over a year for, and I cannot wait to sit down and read because I am certain it will be an epic conclusion. Scott Snyder, Franco Francavilla. Every time these two pair together, it gives me nightmares in the best way. They know horror, and this is going to be awesome.
I wondered whatever happened to this. I'm excited to finish it. And again, I get it. Like I'm angry that it took so long.
Yeah.
But like, let's Name me two guys who have had bigger years than Scott Snyder and Francisco Francavilla, right? Like, I can't think of any. Like, maybe Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yeah.
Maybe Philip Kennedy. Maybe one of the Johnsons, right? Philip Kennedy or Daniel Warren. But like,
or Joshua.
Or maybe Kirkman. But like, those two dudes have been on such a hot streak. For this book to get delayed, I'll forgive you. Just give me more absolute stuff and maybe a Francavilla cover on an absolute book, huh?
Well, we'll be talking about that definitely in a moment. But yeah, no, I mean, Scott Snyder, you're right. It has been his year from absolute onward. I mean, obviously, you were present when Comics Pro gave him his award for helping the industry the way that he did. I love that he was on vacation at Universal Studios with his family and snuck away to, you know, accept the award and give thanks. Like, Scott is just always chef's kiss. Just
I'll never forget this. My favorite Scott Snyder story, C2E2 years ago. It's during New 52, him and Capullo. And they were both at the show that year. And we're sitting in the lobby of the hotel there playing Super Fight. And we just so happen to be doing who would win, Superman or Batman. And here comes Snyder and Capullo. And we go, hey, Scott, Greg, who would win, Superman or Batman? And Scott just dead looks at me in the face and goes, whoever the hell I pick. Like, that guy loves comics a lot and has done so much and has had a great year. So, and White Boat Guys is so good. So the fact that it took some time to get it there, it's fine. We'll get over it. We're just going to love it. We're going to read it. It's going to be good.
All right. So speaking of Scott Snyder, let's pop over to the other side. LunarDistribution.com. You scroll down a little bit to the upcoming FOC. Make sure you're on the right day, December 1st, this Monday. Because what's the very first book? Why, it's a Scott Snyder hit. Absolute Batman Arc M Special. Scott Snyder, Frank Thierry. Bruce finally sneaks his way into that island of Arc M to see just what is in there. Man, I shouldn't be upset that we're having another Absolute Batman, but man, that's going to be an intense week. On a week where we're FOCing Absolute Superman and Absolute Green Lantern, we get a second week of Absolute Batman right after we just FOC'd Absolute Batman number 15. But man, I cannot wait for more of this. Every comic shop, every comic fan, I'm sure, is loving more of this. It's good sales. It makes everyone money. Scott just, you know, he shotgunned his front lawn and oil came out in the most Beverly Hillbillies, you know, or way you can get it. This is just lightning in a bottle.
Absolutely.
So absolutely amazing covers. Javier Rodriguez, Riley Rossmo. Look at that Riley Rossmo masterpiece right there. All of this is great. Then on top of that, we have Absolute Green Lantern, beautiful Mercandolfo cover, I have to point out there. Absolute Superman as we continue Jason Aaron's epic right there. All good stuff. Then Mark Waid continues with Action Comics, those early Superboy stories. Some great fun to be had there. Philip Kennedy Johnson, we now know coming on the end of his run of Superman, we're not going to get more Superman as Philip Kennedy Johnson is going Marvel exclusive. But thankfully, we have at least 7 more issues of the Book of L, because that is a 12-issue series that Philip Kennedy Johnson is locked in for, and I am loving it. Now, we had the incredible Scott Doombeer on to talk about the Steve Ditko Amazing Spider-Man artist editions. Look at those awesome covers. That is going to be, remind you, that is a massive tome back there. Those things are going to be huge. I cannot get my hands on screen large enough for that scale. But I get that it's $200. You're paying barely over $1. It's $1 and, you know, minor pocket change per page to have facsimiles of original Steve Ditko artwork, the entirety of AF-15 and more. So that is going to be incredible. Then, well, Aquaman is battling it out in the DCKO. Mera, the Queen of Atlantis, is battling it out to maintain Atlantis. Aquaman 13 is going to continue that incredible epic. Jeremy Adams doing such a great job with this. Look at that beautiful John Timms cover. All for fun there. Udon fun with the art of Shantae. We have a lot of great Udon anime-esque art coming out. Batgirl, Batman doing good. Batman's going to have a brand new villain. Matt Fraction is bringing us, I'm not even joking, the name of the character is Lady Deathman. What are your thoughts there, Kyle? Lady Deathman, where are your feelings?
I feel like that is the shortened title of a manga.
Yep.
Lady Deathman and the 16 ways you could kill someone only by looking at them and serving them apple pie.
There it is, volume 27.
Right. Like, Matt Fraction, in my opinion, has been doing a very good job with this Batman story. If it wasn't for the art, I probably would have bounced and just got it in a trade at this point. You know, just because how many more Batmans can I buy a month? But the art on every issue is so good, and there are so many great covers, and they keep introducing things, and they keep like just pounding me, and it's great. I'm not angry at it.
Yeah. So
Lady Deathman could be fun. Lady Deathman could be a manga. Lady Deathman could be the name of my, Paramore heavy metal ska cover band. I just can't wait to see what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, the design is really interesting. Jorge Jimenez does this beautiful design right there of the Oho, or I'm assuming Our Lady Deathman. I love the Japanese kanji for she or death tattooed on her face. The proper like dual sorted look. This is an amazing one. But a lot of great covers. I mean, the sweater weather, perhaps the best sweater weather cover yet. I think we actually won't get argument from Kyle on this because it's a sweater-based cover.
That is appropriate sweater weather.
Yeah. All right, let's quickly go through this. A lot of great covers, a lot of great Batman books.
The David Aja variant.
Yes.
Like a minute ago, I had to go quiet because I was texting my LCS going, "Hi, I need to adjust my order so I get the David Aja variant. I need that variant."
Yeah.
Because
25, love it.
A Raven with Poe or a Raven with Batman, and I'm a Poe guy. Gonna need it.
Yeah.
So had to adjust my orders. I'm now getting 7 copies of this book.
Another sad one. I just hate that I love Philip Kennedy Johnson's DC stuff so much and that we're not going to have it much longer. But, if you want to enjoy it while you can, Batman and Robin 29 by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Obviously, Gabriel Hardman continuing his epic Batman Green Arrow, The Question, Arcadia. I hope you guys went to the store and grabbed the #1 that came out this week. Otherwise, like I said, it's Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Something Sunday, Cyber Monday. It is the crazy weekend. Go support your local comic shop. Go pick up some books. That's one you can pick up. The #1 just hit stands this week.
Yeah.
A lot of great continuing series, new availability, facsimile editions. The penultimate issue of Court, which, oh my God, Tom Taylor, you're killing me. This is such a great book for all ages. I love it to death. All sorts of fun to be had on FOC this week. Make sure you look through all of this. So many great collections that Lunar Distribution has for offer. I mean, Jack Kirby's The Demon Etrigan right there.
I was going to mention real quick, Mathias, you went past it. I just got caught up on Cheetah and Cheshire robbed the Justice League.
Yes.
Issue 6 is on FOC. My suggestion, if you haven't read it, order issue 6. Have your retailer order anything they can. Binge read it. It's such a fun binge.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I hate that we're coming up to the final issue, but anytime you get Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott together, whether it's The Question, whether it's something at Image, that is a must-read piece.
Yep.
DCKO, look at these amazing covers. I hate that this is one of those emphases of why it also really helps. Get your orders into your local comic shop. I have a good number of subscribers at my personal shop for DCKO, but nowhere near where it needs to be. And it was proven when number 2 hit, and I thought I ordered a large amount of copies for the wall, and they got ate up very, very quickly from people who weren't subscribed, that weren't watching this show and placing orders with me. So this is a big reminder, if you're a consumer, reach out to your local shop. Let them know, especially on a big book like DCKO, what you want, because this is why number 2s sell out and they're hard to get, because people want the number 1. They want to try it out. We always order big on number 1. You get a little bit more conservative on number 2, and that's the one where people hopefully come out for it. So let your shop know. Let them know so they can guarantee it's waiting for you. So you don't come to a shop and you're like, you're sold out? I want to read that. Because the shop wants to sell it to you. I assure you. We want to sell you books. We want to know what you want, especially when it's a specific cover. These Daniel Warren Johnson covers, phenomenal. If you were watching, wrestling, you were seeing AEW advertise the heck out of these. Here's your AEW covers. Dan Mora's bracket ones. There's always an amazing cover on DCKO on so many of these books. Let your local comic shop know what you want.
I think I ordered 6 different covers for DCKO 3. Like that's how good every cover is. And to be honest, they're not even as good as what's happening inside. So like you're not missing out on it. You're not making a bad investment if you go heavy.
Yeah. And then on top of that, right, you almost miss it because DCKO 3 is on FOC at the same time as DCKO Night Fight number 3. Another amazing piece. Joshua Williamson having Batman battling his way back into the DCKO tournament. I know we had somebody in the comments asking about Dick Tracy. My favorite Dick Tracy isn't even the Mad Cave stuff. It's the classic stuff. So these awesome collections that we're now getting, Chester Gold, that's Dick Tracy right there. I
only need one Dick Tracy thing, and I'll have every Dick Tracy comic ever printed.
Wow, that's crazy.
The one thing I need is going to be impossible, but that's part of the fun of it.
A lot of fun. Feral continues on. We have a brand new Gargoyle series. As Gargoyles, they've crossed over with Fantastic Four. They've crossed over with a number of things. Now we're getting them with Darkwing Duck, and you're getting Greg Wiseman, the creator of the Gargoyles, doing this. Gargoyles, Darkwing Duck. This is literally 1990s Disney me's favorite, 2 cartoons, getting an unexpected merger, and I am 100% in on this.
And they're doing a mystery variant blind bag that, for the life of me, I looked at 4 times going, why is that all trade dress on that whole big blank cover? It's a blind bag. Although, Nikki, if you publish one that says Gargoyles, Darkwing Duck, blank cover, and it's just full of nothing but type, I will buy it.
There you go. I will say, so we got some of our first Dynamite blind bags in this week, and I love the fact that it is you're getting 2 books in these blind bags. You're getting a sketch cover, guaranteed, and a awesome other cover. I grabbed a few. I got some really cool homages that I loved, as well as I got some high ratios. So you get a little bit of the best of both worlds. I think that Dynamite landed their blind bags in the end. I'm happy with that. $10, 2 books. You're doing good. So, yeah, I'm in for some blind bags on some Gargoyle Dynamite. I will say Green Lantern number 12, it's just another issue, but man, there are some great covers on this. I love these Rian Gonzalez paper dolls. It's so interesting to know exactly what underwear Guy Gardner has chosen to wear. But the little mini fire on there, pretty cool. Or sorry, ice. Mixing up fire and ice. That's a bad mix.
Hank Howard, Pizza Detective, 2 Hollywoods. If you read Hank Howard, Pizza Detective from Bad Idea the first time, you're going to want to pick this one up. This has distinct Quentin Tarantino vibes to it that I think will be a very fun read.
Yeah, several years ago, I had to talk to Robert Venditti, and I had to ask him, like, are you proud of Hank Howard? And, of course, he's like, yeah, I love, it was a good write and everything. I'm like, but it's like, how do you feel about Bad Idea making a bad idea of saying this was only allowed at select stores on one day, the end? Now, hopefully you can still find a copy of Hank Howard Pizza Detective number 1. If not, this should be an easy dive in for this 2-issue miniseries. I thought it was an incredible comic, and it bummed me out so much that Bad Idea's old gimmicks made it so hard for people to get. But regardless, it was phenomenal. Now that it's easy, any comic shop can get it anywhere. No ridiculous limitations. This is Robert Venditti, David Lapham, two all-stars doing an incredible crime noir piece. Part of the what was the name of this storyline? Bad Idea Makes My Life So Difficult. They just put this in trade paperback.
Yeah, I forget. But
Not Hero for Hire, but part of that whole entire storyline from Bad Idea. If you can go get the Bad Idea trade paperback from David Lapham that is currently in stores, this is going to be good.
Again, I know we got to go fast, but Hannah and the Hells versus the Beatles is a book that I read when it was originally kickstarted, crowdfunded. Punk rock versus 1960s the Beatles with Satan thrown in. End of story. That's the book.
Yeah. Hero Trade, by the way, that was what I was thinking. Hero Trade. If you get a chance, the Hero Trade should have the Hank Howard original now in that very affordable trade paperback available at your local comic shop.
Yep. Again, Hannah and the Hells, the Runaways versus the Beatles with Satan thrown in. There you go.
Love it. If you are not reading JSA right now, now is the time you should be. They're doing their year one story. So we're going back to World War II with our Justice Society of America. It is awesome. This is part 3, I want to say, in the year one. Yeah, chapter 3. This is awesome. This is what Jeff Lemire should have opened the book with. But I hate that it's the 3rd story arc, but ignore the first 2 story arcs. Go grab this JSA year 1.
The Life and Death of Fritz the Cat is something that I know they've been struggling to get published for a minute. If you're into R. Crumb, if you're into the underground, you're into that scene, just pick it up. They fought and fought and fought to get this in print, and finally here it is.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking literally decades old Robert Crumb, but this is some great
93.
stuff. Yeah, decades old. It's crazy to think. That's late underground. I mean, this is like Robert Crumb, like Rose with The Last Gasp and all that stuff in what 70s, 80s underground comics. So this is good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Fantasy. I don't think enough people are reading this. This is the start of the 2nd story arc, I believe. Or is this the end of the 1st story arc? One way or another, Lost Fantasy, absolutely amazing. I love all the video game homages. Every cover on this is brilliant. But this is really cool. This is like Cloud Final Fantasy meets, John Constantine Hellblazer, and it is great. Lucky Devils gets its 2/3 of the way through mark right there as Ryan Brown is back, recovering from his stroke. I am so thankful he is alive and doing well, and we're getting more from him and Charles Soule. Mark Spears' Monsters continues onward. Some great covers there on an amazing book. One I really want to talk about, Mary Shelley. This is finally getting an English edition. This is the biography of Mary Shelley. And the cool thing is everyone knows of Mary Shelley because of Frankenstein. But I don't think a lot of people know the story of who Mary Shelley was, the incredible people she knew, the unbelievable life she had, and how so much of it affected her youth that created Frankenstein. This is an interesting biography, and I think will open your eyes to a very interesting historical figure and those around her. Definitely.
And make note of the name Manuela Santoni.
Yes.
All I'm saying. I think that's a name that in the next few years you're going to be seeing at certain two-letter publishers, and maybe one that has a big red logo. And, other people who are looking to have some of that zine style, pure black and white, heavy ink sort of look on some of their maybe horror or less superhero-y characters. Just saying.
Yeah.
I think there's someone who's just a little undiscovered because super Italian.
All right. Mega Man. We just had a series of great one-shots. Now we get a proper 6-issue miniseries. Yes, I know it says of 5. It's 6 issues because there's a 0 issue. Mega Man X coming back with us. I am hyped for that from Udon. Not to mention Mega Man X Dive Official Complete Works, giving you a big, oversized art book for all you Mega Man loving fans. Fantagraphics continuing on its long-running Mickey Mouse series, going back to the old era, We have the Legacy number 332, but it's part of a two-part Ripples in Time storyline. And you get a little bit of everything with this. Is my favorite part with this Mickey Mouse. Not only are you going to get the Ripples in Time storyline, you're going to get a wonderful memento story of Mickey and Minnie on a vacation in Greece. Classic Mickey tales for those who love those classic Disney comics. New Gods getting a facsimile, another Jack Kirby piece I wasn't expecting. But speaking of affordable trades, Tom Taylor, the Eisner Award-winning run of Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo getting a $10 DC compact. There's every reason you need to own this. I hate that it doesn't come out till March, but this is get your orders in, because if you haven't read this, you are doing yourself a disservice. This is one of the best things DC has had published in the last decade. It won a ton of Eisner Awards for a reason. Grab that book.
I scrolled ahead and saw something I hadn't seen before, and it's right there.
What was that?
Well, there are two Poison Ivy covers that I want to point to. I would have maybe fought for one of these to be in the top 10 had I seen it before, which is the Kyung Ohm cover.
Oh,
See?
yeah.
Where it's, I don't know, Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors. Poison Ivy is Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors. Meets Tank Girl, I would say. Like, kind of that look on that cover. So that's super cool. And then I love the Joshua Sway-Swaby sort of almost Bilquist Evely style cover as well, which is the D cover on Poison Ivy 40, which Poison Ivy's been a great series, but oh my gosh, those two covers, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they are some absolutely amazing covers. Every issue of Poison Ivy, like, I have to fight on whether or not I put them in the top 10. All the covers amazing. Even this Sweater Weather.
Mm-hmm.
Danny is not who I would expect to do this, but, you know, hey, it works.
Next to that is Radically Rearranged Ronin Ragdoll's Adventures 100. We've been trying to get David.
I totally missed this. Wow, David Abalone, that is awesome.
We've been trying to get David on the show for a long time for other things that he's doing in this, realm. Legally not the Ninja Turtles, but this one's super fun. So check that one out as well.
Yeah, it ties directly into Drawing Blood. If you read the comic Drawing Blood, which is a semi-autobiographical tale of Kevin Eastman's youth in a fantasy version, this is their fantasy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So there we go. Big one there. I am 110% buying that. A lot of great ones. A lot of adult stuff. Skyclad giving you a lot of mature cover options at a very high price. Space Ghost continuing on. All sorts of fun with Spawn Scorch as it nears issue 50. Street Fighter art books. If you love those Street Fighter swimsuit editions, you want some oversized hardcovers, there's 2 volumes back to back available for you. Supergirl. Every one of these covers deserves to be in the top 10. These are some of the greatest cute animal covers. Look at all that Crypto. Look at all that Streaky. It is just awesome. Though I really don't understand what Joe Quinone is doing with all of the cape for Crypto there. That is just too much cape for a dog.
He's got something to chase.
Yeah. In things that I just have to point out, why are we doing a facsimile edition of Superman 75? Name a comic shop that doesn't have 500 copies of this book. But, yeah. Things that didn't need a facsimile. There was 5 printings of Superman 75. Huge one we got to talk about. New Nightmare Before Christmas. Congratulations, Nikki and the boys at Dynamite. Wow. This is what I need. The Shiver of Christmas Town. Torrin Groenbeck giving us New Nightmare Before Christmas. I love it. We're in an era where there are 3 publishers giving us New Nightmare Before Christmas content. There are prose novels that are officially sanctioned sequels.
Tokyo Pop's manga.
Tokyo Pop's manga. Yeah, everything about this. This is awesome. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Teen girls who like the Hot Topic are going crazy right now. Yeah. Real quick, Timmy the Coward.
Yeah.
Tommy the Coward. Again, this is another one of those, if you're looking for something, for especially because this hits in stores just after New Year's. But if you're looking for someone to get for that Captain Underpants crowd, the Pete the Cat crowd, this is another one. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. This will appeal to all of those.
Yeah, those are awesome. Of course, Black Friday's happening in my store right now, and everything's blowing up on my phone. Vampirella, all these great Walking Dead. Hopefully, you can go get a Vertigo New Beginning preview from your local comic shop. You'll have to ask them if that is available. We get the final issue of Wild West Cowboys, a Moo Mesa. One I really want to point out, though, Wizard of Oz official film adaptation. This is an adaptation of the movie done entirely by Sue Lee, who I think is really a major up-and-comer. Sue Lee has done all the unbelievable Maleficent comics, the Chitara series. I want to say she did that awesome Dark Horse graphic novel series, Camilla, with Amy Chu. Sue Lee is brilliant, and this is something... I mean, we're getting a lot of Oz adaptations right now in this height of Wicked being in theaters. This has my attention. I am all for this. And then I mentioned we had more black and white specials. How about Wonder Woman Black and Gold, as we're getting Alyssa Wong, Steve Orlando, Tom King, Mitch Gerards, Jordi Belair. This is all all-star creators doing their takes on Wonder Woman 2026 special. So it's a one-shot. As we're getting just a flood of these. But I will never say no to big names, anthologies with our favorite heroes.
Who knew Wonder Woman was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan?
Finally, with Zootopia 2 in theaters as of today. Grab the original Zootopia in comic form from Paper Cuts. It's Jeff Parker doing that. Or sorry, not from Paper Cuts, from Dynamite. Whoops, sorry, Nikki. Dynamite, Zootopia, Jeff Parker, Alessandro Rinaldi. There it is. All that fun. All right, let's cut to our top 10. We are pushing it on our show. We have a lot to talk about. And the first one, the big honorable mention, of course, is that unbelievable artist edition of Amazing Spider-Man by Steve Ditko. You've heard me talk about this for the last 2 hours. Get it. Do you know Superman's punk rock?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. You know Superman's punk rock? Because James Gunn led us to believe that.
I think anyone who wears his underwear on the outside is punk rock.
There it is. For those of you guys who love that moment in the Superman movie from James Gunn, we're getting a whole month of punk rock Superman covers. This is the first one, so I had to give it a shout out. Annie Wu doing a punk rock Superman on Action Comics. Superman's punk rock. Let's do it. Number 9. All right. This is a statement, and we're going to not go to the debate that I would love to have had on this, but Joshua Williamson, Iron Man, this needed to be in our top 10. But I hate that there was no good cover, that the covers were not yet revealed. This is a failure on Marvel across the board, and no matter how cool the classified cover could be, and look, it could have a big, big reveal that Annie Wu is going to be giving us as it's a foreshadowing classified cover. This is a statement I had to have. Joshua Williamson, Iron Man will be huge. It deserves to be in our top 10. It sucks that Marvel could not get the covers done in time, that Marvel has classified covers that we don't know what it is. There's a whole debate on this, and I'm sure Kyle would go off if we had the time, right?
Boo.
But
show me something, even if it's just a little bit.
This is for you, David Gabriel. This is for you, folks at Marvel. This will be something we'll be pointing at you directly on. This has every right to be in the top 10. It has every right to deserve to be in the top 10. And it is a failure that I am showing a black cover with a logo for Iron Man, because Joshua Williamson on Iron Man deserves the top 10. It deserves to be higher up in the top 10. And it is at spot 9 because I have nothing proper to show.
I know Mathias has to hurry, but here's my pitch. We all know what an arc reactor looks like. Show us Annie Wu's version of an arc reactor, and that's it.
All right. Nightmare Before Christmas. Jay Lee doing Sally. That's all I got to say. Nightmare Before Christmas. This is going to be awesome. David Nakayama. That is a sexy cover. Black Cat number 6. This is definitely going to be one that people are demanding. Then DCKO, look at that. Carla Cohen Zatanna. Everything about this, the emotion on that face, it's devastating. The burning cards. How Zatanna is going to survive the DCKO, I don't think she is, but whew, that is a powerful cover on an amazing book. Beautiful sweater weather cover right there as we get the Superman jackets. Look at how happy Crypto is. That is a moment. Fan Yang, I think, is just becoming a all-star cover artist, and that is an all-star cover. Here's a big one. The classified. This is a classified cover I justify, as this will be a reveal of an upcoming Marvel Rivals costume. Luna Snow World Tour. You already heard me talk about it. I think this is going to be an awesome book. This will be a great one from Greg Pak. And I think this is going to be a big deal for you Marvel Rival fans, because those costume covers always are.
Just to add my 2 cents, the whole line, a first look at a new costume coming too. If they had said if they had put something like that on that Iron Man cover, I wouldn't have complained.
Yep, and that's it. All right, I believe this is our first cover of Absolute Zatanna. I could be wrong. Someone will call me out if I am. But Javier Rodriguez giving us our Absolute Zatanna on Absolute Batman Art M Special. This is, everything about this is money, money, money. All right, here's another big one. Everyone loves meme covers. This is a great meme cover. We had to censor it, but man, I got to give Kyle credit for the design, because that censor he threw in there makes the cover even better. But that classic girlfriend, you know, giving the eye to her cheating-eyed boyfriend as he looks onward. Eurotech is doing amazing. I don't know if you guys saw the Howard Chaykin cover for #1 is unbelievable. $40 to $60 for a 1-in-5 ratio. Eurotech is getting some attention. Give it some more love right there. Jeffrey doing an amazing job with that. Wonderful meme homage. Then #1, the big one, Lyrics Lee doing that Batman #5, Oja, Lady Deathman cover. This is going to draw some attention. This is a book that's been selling out hand over fist. Matt Fraction has been doing an unbelievable job with these. I truly believe that this is some of the best Batman we've had in a while, and that's in an era with Absolute Batman. But yeah, it's crazy how well Fraction and Jorge Jimenez are doing on this. So obviously that was the big #1 to end our top 10. Awesome week. Get your orders in ASAP, because it's going to be a crazy week with Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, whatever Sunday is, Cyber Monday. Your comic shop deserves your money and your attention, but they also deserve your orders, because this is going to be a crazy weekend. Kyle, absolutely. Take it away.
Well, coming up here in about 15 minutes on the EXP, I will be back doing a mega marathon live sale for Black Friday. Everything is $2. Everything is $2. Everything is $2. I'm not going to tell you anything $2. It's all $2. Anyway, doing back issues and all that kind of stuff. Then Nikki will be here at 7 with St. Nick's. Santa Nick's. We can't call him St. Nick. We've all met him. Santa Nick's Black Friday blowout. Nick loves Christmas more than about anybody I know, which is gross. But he wants to start celebrating now, and so he's going to do a Black Friday bonanza on the original art experience. And then Nancy will be here, hopefully with some holdovers from her Black Friday sale at her shop, Comics Unlimited in Cleveland, Tennessee. That's tonight at 9. Nick is at 7. Then on Sunday, I will be back Sunday night at 8. We'll be doing something. I don't know what we'll be doing. We'll see how we sell today. If we sell out of books today, I'm going to have to spend all day tomorrow processing new comics. So we'll get all that done. Then Monday, Comic Collectibles with Rex, Best Coast Comics. Tuesday, Comic Industry Insiders. We're going to talk about back issues. Then we'll have Minutes to Skin with Miss Jen, tomorrow's Comics Tuesday. And I will be back again selling more comics on Tuesday night, filling in for Henri. And then Wednesday, we'll have Comic Collectibles with Rex. Hump Day Heroes. Thursday, we'll be back with What's in the Box with Miss Jen, the Geek Chat, Sketch Up with Mel and Mog. They're doing a holiday art jam on Sketch Up with Mel and Mog. And then next Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. Mathias and I will try not to yell too much about things Marvel has done wrong, in my opinion. Because I'm sure there'll be something.
Yeah.
But
all right.
We'll be back next Friday in the same time. And I may already have a guest. So we will talk to you next week.
Absolutely. A huge shout out and big thanks once again for Scott Doonbeer coming out. I love Act 4 publishing. I think you guys will all enjoy these books. These artist editions are going to be amazing. First one's dropping in a few weeks, and 2026 will be a year for those awesome artist editions. Get your orders in to your local comic shop before Monday. We'll see you guys next week.